Hello and welcome to Stubtown, PSU TV's review show. This week, we're talking Logan.
Hello? You know you gotta pay for that, right? Hey, come on.
Not okay. We got ourselves an X-Men fan. Maybe a quarter of it happened.
With me this week is
Ash.
and
Jenny.
we're talking about Logan. Overall, would either of you like to give me a quick little summary of the movie, sort of spoiler-free, vague overview?
I think you could do that.
Yeah.
All right.
So the story of Logan getting into trouble again, but as an old dude. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a ride. I didn't leave unsatisfied. Yeah, it was a good one. Definitely
Yeah.
worth the 2 hours or so that I was there.
Yeah, and it's mostly like it's like a road trip style movie. I would say definitely fits into that genre of like set a destination, put as many things in the way of that destination as possible.
A to B.
A to B.
Mhm.
I jokingly was like, this movie is sort of a lot like Homeward Bound.
Right.
It kind of is. Like they get sort of hung up on a farm, and like I don't know, it made me laugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, what did you guys think of the performances in Logan?
I thought the gal that played Laura was badass. Like I did not expect
okay.
that kind of performance from someone of that age.
Yeah, because she's like 12 maybe?
I think making her mute was like a good way to avoid like bad acting in a way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's like
like let her let's establish how cool she is. Let's make sure that the people already are attached to her, and then like I could see that.
like
That
her
would
eating
work.
cereal while watching the guys come after her. Like I was just like, I love this girl. She knows what's coming and she's ready for it.
Yeah. Oh man. And Patrick Stewart in this movie. Oh,
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Sir Patrick Stewart. I mean, he's devastating. He's such a bummer. He plays the age of the character, because in this I think Professor X is like 90. He's in his
Ooh,
90s. I think
yeah.
you mentioned at one point. So he's really old, and Patrick Stewart plays the tragedy of his age really well, and the fact that the plot sort of supports that. I liked that a lot. And I was kind of surprised by how sort of raw Patrick Stewart was in this. Like he's definitely not like reserved at all. He's not the Professor X we've seen before. This is definitely like a broken, more angry version of the character.
It's almost like Patrick's like version of what
Sir
Sir Patrick's version of what the newer Charles was doing, the tragic sort of take, rather than being the regal like I have a shit ton of I have a bunch of money. Let's like buy a property and make a school. It's more of like I'm barely surviving.
Yeah.
Which I love that. It was,
I do like McAvoy's take in I think it's Days of Future Past, where he's really like strung out and stuff. I will be happy to get back to like prestige Xavier, but it was nice that Patrick Stewart could really show sort of how well he knows this character by bringing everything he did to the table.
Yeah.
I mean, just the little things that he does. Like every time something bad would happen with his mental state, it was, I don't know, I was like, oh no, like. Oh.
yeah.
What do you guys think of Hugh Jackman?
It was interesting seeing him in such a aged character. And I feel like he played that age very well.
Yeah. Every shot, he just looks in pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
The coughing and the wheezing
And he's limping in like every
pulling
scene.
out that claw.
Oh, that
Yeah,
was
that's in the
painful.
trailer. That's in the trailer, and it's like, oh,
That's a
in the
good
film,
scene.
it takes so much longer.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really feel that. Yeah.
That was painful.
yeah. No, I'm torn on Hugh Jackman, right? Because like he does a great job as Wolverine generally, but he's also like sort of responsible for Wolverine Origins. which is like the worst superhero movie ever
Oh, like he
made.
had some input on it?
Yeah, like he was. I think he was a producer on that, and like had some sway over it. And that's like the that's the exact face I made when I found that out. I was like, oh man, but I like him. And he's had this really weird, like Wolverine's one of those weird characters where it's not like Iron Man, right? Where it's like we love Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, and he's in a couple good Iron Man movies at least. Wolverine's never really been in a good Wolverine-centric movie. Like the best one that he's in is probably Days of Future Past, and that's because he's not really in the main conflict in that movie.
No.
He has a cameo in First Class, but other than that, like X-Men 1 and 2, I'm sorry, audience, they don't hold up. Like they don't. I'm sorry. I wish they did. I used to think, yeah, no, I like those movies. Don't go. If you like them, don't go back and visit because they're not good. 3, I think no one likes, and then Origins is a disaster, and then the Wolverine is like, this is fine, but everyone loves Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, so this movie was kind of cathartic in a lot of ways. It was like, finally, I can just enjoy this without, I mean, obviously I'm a huge X-Men fan. Like, I love the world and the characters and stuff so much, so I think it was really smart on their part to separate out what they thought worked from the previous franchise and just let everything else disappear. Like they hinted some other things, but they never really there's no guest appearances by old characters. I mean, if someone's in this movie, they're in it. They're not like, oh hey, Nightcrawler walked in the background. It's like no, no one's showing up. It's just these two. If they're in the trailer, they're in the movie. That's it. Like I was like, that was a smart choice. Like
I think especially since it was like a goodbye to both of them.
Yes.
I think they played it really well, keeping it like focused on them two, on Hugh Jackman and Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, which have always been everyone's favorite parts of the X-Men movies. Because
honestly, yeah.
I mean, Patrick Stewart is Xavier. Like he read all of the comics beforehand, but he didn't need to.
Oh no,
he could have
did
just
not.
walked in and be like, what? Just be a Patrick Stewart type. Okay, all right, I can handle that.
So I knew that this was supposed to be Hugh Jackman's last movie, but was it also supposed to be Patrick's last movie as well?
After seeing the screening of it, Patrick Stewart tweeted out that he was retiring his Professor X. He felt like this was like a good place for him to just retire his version of the character. And
okay.
I tend to agree. I think it would be great if they just rebooted the X-Men right now, the whole universe, and then like Deadpool is still Ryan Reynolds and he's aware that a reboot happened.
Yeah.
That would be perfect, I think, at this point, because they're finally starting to hit their stride. But I think if they try and keep all of the baggage, the Singer movies and Apocalypse, which is not good, and that whole timeline is so convoluted and characters are all the wrong ages, and I think if they need to get rid of all of that stuff. Like Logan proved that without all of that baggage, they can really tell a great story.
Yeah.
And they need to. The foundation is rotten. You gotta rebuild. Yeah. Okay, so we'll sort of wrap the spoiler-free section up. We'll do recommends, don't recommends. So go ahead and give a little short, sum up your thoughts on the film, and then say if you'd recommend it or if you wouldn't recommend it.
Okay. I thought overall the movie was. I felt like overall the movie had a lot of beautiful imagery and the acting was a lot of fun. The action was great, and so I would totally recommend seeing this movie, even if you're just an action fan and not necessarily X-Men fan. So, recommend.
Cool. That's one recommend.
Nice. I really enjoyed this film. Sir Patrick Stewart and Hugh Jackman do an amazing job, especially bringing to light a young actress who I've never seen in anything before, and she did wonderful with what she was given. Overall, a great film. Definitely recommend.
Yeah, I'm also going to give this movie a recommend. Even as a hardcore X-Men fan who has many continuity things and little nitpicks that come up for me as a fan, the movie is still good enough on its own that those things can fall away. That's definitely not true of a lot of the X-Men movies or superhero movies in general. It's hard as a comics fan sometimes to let that stuff go away. But when the movie's good enough and it feels true to the characters, that's when you can really engage with that stuff and let that. And that's what happened for me in Logan. Is that even though there's some really weird stuff that we'll talk about in the spoiler section that happens, I still felt myself incredibly engaged and enjoying this movie overall. It's one of the most gross movies I've seen in a while. Like I don't think I've ever winced so much during any action scenes in my life. Like this movie is brutal. If you have kids or something, I would watch this yourself before showing it to them. It's a hard R, and it works really well in the film's favor. It works really well for this. But just be aware that this is not just like they did a few things to make sure it was R for the rating factor. No, they did everything to make sure that this was a rated. No 12-year-old has killed as many men on camera than in this movie. So with that, I'd say definitely check this out. It's a solid movie overall. So that's it for the spoiler-free section this week. Remember, Stubtown's brought to you by PSU TV, a student-based organization concentrated on creating film and video. If you'd like to get involved with the organization, reach out to us at contact@psu.tv. That's it. We'll see you in the spoiler section. Bye.